All right, everybody. This is our first time doing the podcast where we're going to literally do all the WWE in one sitting. So 7 hours of subpar wrestling. Here we go.
See, now here's the deal. I have not watched Raw or Smackdown because nothing I heard about either show made me want to watch it. Like, I'm not tuning in for 2 hours of Smackdown just to see Kevin Steen headbutt Vince McMahon. Satisfying though that is, I'll just find a clip of it and watch it, which I haven't even bothered to do that yet.
I would check that out. I would say the first hour and a half of Raw was actually pretty good. Then it went off the rails.
So, basically what I've done is I've watched the Wrestle Talk News because they do like a recap of both shows in less than 4 minutes. And that appeals to me because then I know what's going on and I don't have to put up with it. And so I have, sell me on Raw. Like, why the hell should I watch Raw? What was good? Like, was there a reason to watch the whole show? Is there ever a reason to watch the whole show?
I would say that there's never a reason to watch the whole show. Let's be honest here. But I'll sell you on a couple of things. Roman Reigns versus Jason Jordan was actually very good. It was a good match. If you liked the John Cena versus Jason Jordan match, I think you're going to like this match more because it wasn't as slow at the start. It got kind of going right away, whereas Cena and Jordan had been a kind of slow build of a match. Just a couple spots I'm going to talk about. Con. Jason Jordan likes to do a lot of shoulder barges and stuff working the midsection, and of course Roman Reigns is wearing a chest protector. So
yeah,
we have the same problem that we kind of always have with Roman Reigns, is that he really needs to get rid of that chest protector. And the other con I had,
D'Lo Jr. from now on. The
other con I had on this was that they kept referencing that Jason Jordan's on this path to proving that he belongs. On Raw. The thing is, it doesn't really disconnect with it disconnects with the timeline because, of course, American Alpha, the tag team, got called up before Kurt Angle was involved as the Raw general manager, and theoretically before Kurt Angle knew that Jason Jordan was his son. So he's on the main roster on his own merits. Mm-hmm. So, kind of beating over the head with that storyline is not great. But Jason Jordan does a lot of very interesting suplexes, including this kind of weird crossbody suplex, which was interesting. That's definitely a spot to look out for. And his Northern Light suplex is pretty hot. Good drop kick as well. Just, nothing that you don't know. But the chemistry between these two was better than I think it probably anyone expected it to be. And Reigns gets his signature win, drive-by, Superman punch, spear, boom, gets the win.
Same old shit.
If you're into the John Cena Roman Reigns very meta approach to promos, which I am not, but if you are, the John Cena Roman Reigns confrontation was really good. My problem with it is that it was talking about John Cena's inability to have great matches, and I'm like, John Cena's had great matches with guys who are not capable of having great matches. So
that is correct. His name is Big Match John. He has big matches, and his name's John, and that's really. Yeah, that entire statement just defeats your promo. Sorry, Good night, goodbye, D'Lo Jr., go back to the back. Think about what you've just said.
Continuing on, we got to see Braun Strowman destroy Brock Lesnar, and that was actually pretty good. Aside from that, there's not really anything else I'm going to sell you on, except for just picture this for a moment: a Goldust Bray Wyatt feud.
Yeah, I could get down on some of that. The promos, if they could do a double Titantron, instead of coming down to the ring, just put two big screens, two Geratron 5002s in the ring, and have them promo off from there. How's that for a gimmick?
That would be fantastic. I would enjoy that all the way. Unfortunately, this match was a squash match, so we're not getting that. But it was good food for thought. Other than that, we got Sasha Banks beat Emma. Who cares? Um, we ended up with the Bar versus the Club, which had me laughing a lot just thinking about that as a match right there. The Bar versus the Club.
Barber Club.
It ended up turning into a brawl with Rollins and Ambrose, and we wound up with an 8-man tag match for the main event, which was interesting that we would have a tag featured thing for the main event as opposed to Cena, Reigns, or anything along that line. I enjoyed Braun Strowman and John Cena, but you don't need to go out of your way to see it. Elias Sampson squashed Kalisto. We had an Asuka teaser. And Maurice is apparently pregnant with Mrs. Kidd, and Enzo is a dick.
Yeah, I saw. So they had that kind of highlight package on 205 Live, which I did watch, and I laughed. I was good with it.
Mm-hmm. It's just such a weird face dynamic though with Enzo.
Well,
weird.
I think somebody's finally got a bug in Vince's ear that maybe it was a shitty idea to break up the only over tag team in the world. So maybe we'll have a double, like they'll have a Cass come back, in 3 or 4 years when they've reassembled his leg using titanium, and then they'll turn them both heel for a time. Although if they had just instantly go face, people will accept it as well.
Yeah, probably. Dean Malenko was on Raw, so that's nice.
That is nice.
Because Rollins and Ambrose were looking for tag team partners for the main event, and they came across Dean Malenko and Jamie Noble. And they're like, oh, man of 1,000 holds! Oh, and, what's his name again? Jamie. Yeah, Jamie. But you guys aren't dressed for it, because they're dressed up in suits and everything. Nah, you're not dressed up for it. And then they found the Hardys. So we got the Hardys and the tag champs versus the Club Bar. And
delightful!
Faces went over. Nothing really particularly spectacular about the match.
Yes.
So that's Raw. And we managed to cover Raw in 7 minutes.
That sounded like it sucked a whole lot. And,
like I said,
of goodness.
I would recommend watching the first hour, and that's about it.
Fair enough. And SmackDown sounded like a dog's breakfast with a headbutt spot.
Yeah, not really anything really good to say about SmackDown. The Rusev promo was not bad. I kind of like the idea that he's going to kill a legend, which is cool. Jinder Mahal's promo was actually pretty good when he wasn't being foreign heel. He did a kind of comedy heel type deal with Nakamura, basically making fun of the faces he makes during the matches. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty good, actually. It was legitimately kind of funny. And he seemed really comfortable doing it. And then he went for a full foreign heel, and that still seems awkward as fuck.
Oh, hello, Akbar.
We got a decent street fight between the Usos and the New Day, with New Day getting the belts again.
Kofi got injured again.
Natty Neidhart beat Naomi in a match that has all the hallmarks of a Naomi match.
Boring.
Ziggler got in some hot water for spoofing Ultimate Warrior's entrance, as well as Bayley's, which
I can see. Yeah, I guess
I would
go for that.
My thing on this is, if Dana Warrior, who's the wife of the late Ultimate Warrior, wants to get angry about it, I can understand that. Like, if they didn't clear it with her beforehand, I get that. I don't really understand fans thinking, because the thing here is he didn't get the same reaction with Randy Savage's spoofage.
Yeah.
And to me, it's literally the same thing. He's spoofing a dead legend. So either both are not okay, or they're both okay.
I would agree.
So, Dana Warrior, be angry if you want. Everyone else, take a fucking chill pill.
Pretty much.
Other than that, Hype Bros versus Gable and Benjamin. So, Gable and Benjamin won. Hype Bros thing seems to be going a little bit further. There might be a breakup there at some point. We'll see. I actually really enjoyed the Vince McMahon Kevin Owens confrontation, but that's I think WWE themselves have put it up on YouTube, so just watch that on YouTube.
Can do, Jerry.
Because it's pretty good. I mean, it's almost like they thought this situation called for a slow, dramatic promo talking about politics and power and change, and You know, but then they decided that the time was, not for speeches, but for action.
Whoa.
Evil Morty confirmed.
Correct.
Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on the first 5 hours of the main show of Raw.
Yeah.
And SmackDown. There weren't any can't miss matches. I would go back and watch Jason Jordan, Roman Reigns. It was a good match, but nothing else really comes to mind. The Vince McMahon Kevin Owens confrontation is good, and if you like meta-based promos, John Cena Roman Reigns is good. Yeah, and so I would also suggest watching Strowman beat up on Lesnar, because that was pretty good.
Yeah. So my whole deal is that if the Wrestle Talk News can't sell me on actually watching it, I'm not bothering to waste 5 hours of my time a week on some shit that obviously is going to be subpar.
I honestly just put it on in the background while I'm doing something else.
Fair enough.
Completely skipped over it. Braun Strowman got disqualified in his match against John Cena, but he got to look. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. Braun Strowman looks insanely strong, and Cena doesn't actually have to do a job. So,
no, all positive things.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, it's almost as if they know how to book.
Almost.
At least once a day they can book. So then we move on to the best 205 Live episode that's ever existed. Am I wrong? Huh?
I think there's been better, but it's top 5 for sure.
I would put it as number 1 with the Boulay, because quite frankly, this thing had it all. It had a hell of a damn match between your boy George Clinton and your other boy Zippy the Filipino. They actually gave him time to work? What the hell, man? I don't understand. They've
given Rich Swann and TJP some time before. Like, all of their one-on-one matches have been really good. The problem with their program has been they have had to insert, both of them getting wins over Daivari in the meantime.
Yeah. So, I mean, they've given them time to work before, but not like this. They've given them, 8.5 minutes instead of 7.5. But this, they gave him almost 20 minutes. And it was really damn good. And they were able to put a whole match together with storytelling, a drama build, awesome moves, back and forth. It's almost as if somebody booked a match. It's very weird. I never really expect anything to go on a WWE event other than NXT.
Which is a sad statement on the product, to be honest.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was a very good match. Followed up by your boy, Drew Garlic.
I will say that I'm less blown away by this match than you are, because I saw their matchup at the Cruiserweight Classic, which was better than this. If you like this one, watch that one. But yeah, for a 205 match, this was fantastic. They did a great job. They let both of these guys work, because these two guys are really, really talented workers. Mm-hmm. The entire 205 roster, except for Enzo, is. And that's not necessarily even a dig on Enzo, for the record. It's just, in-ring, not so great. Out-of-ring, promo, fantastic. But in-ring, not great.
Yeah, no, but he's at least aware of his limitations and doesn't try and work above himself. But, I mean, we had a very damn good match for 205 Live, I guess, if you want me to qualify everything, because you're such a Debbie Downer. And then we had the best in-ring segment of the year, almost.
Drew Gulak and the Fashion Police.
So what?
Drew Gulak and the Fashion Police.
Correct. So, I mean, for WWE, this was the in-ring moment of the year. It's like this, and it's the Festival of Friendship, and then there's basically the collective Big Cass Enzo Amore breakup segments, which were fantastic. So you got those are all 3 in the running for best in-ring anything in the Wobbly Wobbly Bee. And this was fantastic. They read him the Fashion Riot Act. They put the fuzzy cuffs on him. Dango crinkled his nose against the dude's forehead. It was hilarious. The whole thing was great.
And presumably we'll get some matches between Tyler Breeze and Drew Gulak out of this, which I am in favor of.
Indeed. And then we had a heel turn!
I'm confused on this one.
I'm willing to see where it goes. I'm also a little confused, but I'm less... Like, I don't really care, because they don't know how to write or book at all. Mm-hmm. So you might as well just go with it, and Drew... everybody's named Drew. Drew Gallagher, and you got Drew McIntyre, and Drew Garlic, and Drew Cena. Anyway, your boy Gallagher did an amazing performance and left everybody, like, you think you're confused. How do you think Brian Kendrick's character feels?
Oh, yeah, Brian Kendrick sold that confusion. I love it. Yeah. It's great. So, basically the deal was, earlier in the show, we had a Brian Kendrick, Cedric Alexander confrontation deal where Kendrick kind of, he does his thing. He's gonna teach you a lesson that you need to learn from his generation, sort of deal. And there's a match, and Alexander is winning the match, and then we get Gentleman Jack's music, and Gentleman Jack comes down, scares the living fuck out of Brian Kendrick, and then beats the living fuck out of Cedric Alexander. So that's interesting. So I guess unlike Akira Tozawa and TJP, Gentleman Jack appreciates the lessons of Brian Kendrick. Maybe I don't know. I don't know where this is going, but I want to see. That being said, my general pessimistic side says that it'll probably be not any good, but we'll see. Yeah,
they'll just forget about the storyline, and then suddenly Cedric Alexander and Mr. Gallagher will be tag teaming in like a week. You know, no problem, no biggie. It never really happened because we can't book long term for any reason.
Yeah, that's pretty much the case, unfortunately. So then we went on to NXT, which opened up with a really interesting match, if you want to take us through that.
What match was that?
It's the Iconic Duo versus Ruby Riott and Mystery Partner.
Oh, yeah, there we go. The moronic twosome still can't fucking wrestle.
I will say, briefly in defense of them, I was watching this match and I kind of figured out something redeeming about Billie Kay in the ring.
Her ass?
That's a looks thing. That's not in the ring. She actually does striking spots reasonably well. Like, if she has to deliver a chop, or a punch, or a kick, or receive one, actually not bad. Her ability to train wrestle doesn't exist. So she can't... If you could figure out a way to basically do a kickboxing match in WWE, she would probably be fine. But asking her to do anything more than that is not a good plan. And Peyton Royce is just useless. I can't for the life of me figure out what she's supposed to be good at. She is the better of the two at chain wrestling, but that is not saying anything.
Yeah, it was, I very rarely hear a dead crowd in NXT, and the crowd was dead for this. The crowd was not having it, because the Australians can't wrestle. And Ruby Riott's doing everything she possibly can to drag them towards a wrestling match. And she's doing a damn fine job, but they are not any good. They're not fat. They don't have the reflexes. They don't have the foresight. They don't have an ability to put a match together at all.
And after watching the Mae Young Classic, I'm greatly confused by this. 'Cause I kind of... My thought was that I don't know a lot about the Australian wrestling scene. Before doing the Mae Young Classic, I knew the Iconic Duo in NXT, and I knew Jay White. And that was the extent of it. And Jay White's really good. Iconic Duo is very bad. I assume maybe just that like female Australian wrestling is way, way behind and just not very good. Then I watched the Mae Young Classic. And there were two Australian girls in that named Toni Storm and Rhea Ripley. And they are very good. And they are 20 and 21. So they're green and very good. Toni Storm is probably main roster ready. Rhea Ripley needs, it's a year in NXT. Year and a half. And there's a New Zealand girl named Dakota Kai who's also probably ready for the main roster. So that continent has good female wrestlers. I have no earthly idea how to explain the Iconic Duo at this point. Like, why they are so bad.
No, I have no idea. So, the fact that they're able to instantly kill any kind of crowd makes the epic team-up of Ruby Riott and Nikki Storm fucking crazy. Or Nikki Storm's her fucking indie scene name.
Nikki Cross, WWE name.
Nikki Stormy Cross.
I loved it! I loved it!
I love this to death. And I was so angry that the idiots had killed the crowd. The crowd barely reacted to this awesome...
Well, they reacted a lot to Cross on the outside being crazy.
They didn't, though. They were just kind of like, hey, she's here, cool. And then they went back to not caring. They didn't react hardly, like, they should have been a dramatic upsurge in crowd activity. Like, and I mean dramatic. I don't just mean kind of, oh. I mean, like, oh my god, is it gonna happen? Oh my god! Like, this should have been a big moment, and it was just kind of a thing that I guess maybe might have happened at one point. Yeah. But, I mean, Nikki Cross hit the ring, did all of the cool shit, got all of her shit in.
I just enjoyed the blind tag spot. It's like, is she gonna do it? She tagged him!
Reached around and slapped her right on the titty.
Yeah.
Like, that seems a little much, but I'm fine with it.
I will say that the Australians' inability to wrestle actually was good in the Nikki Cross comeback, because it made Nikki Cross look really unsmooth, and based on her crazy girl character, she really should be very unsmooth.
Yeah.
The problem is that I can't give them any credit for that, because I don't believe that's intentional. I believe that's they're bad. Like, if they were like, okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to make this look a little bit rough. Okay. The problem is that the match with Ruby Riott up until this point had also been very rough. Therefore, there was no difference.
Exactly. Yeah, no, they just, oh man, this should have been awesome, and it was just really cool. It's almost like, you know, it's like somebody said something really nice to you, and then 3 days later you've already forgotten it.
Yeah.
It's like that other, whereas it should have been, I don't want to like wax poetic or resort to much hyperbole in this case, but it's as if this should have been a big moment in your life, and it was just sort of like a high five you got from a friend. It pissed me off, quite frankly. Their inability leading to their only apparent talent, which is killing a crowd.
The problem is at this point they're actually making like good talents. Again, you don't know Crazy Mary Dobson is a good wrestler. I do, but they made Sarah Logan look pretty crap in 2 matches she's had with them. By the way, I was kind of hoping it would be Sarah Logan would actually be Ruby Riott's partner. I am more into Nikki Cross being the partner, but that was what I thought they were going to go with. Because, of course, both of them are effectively feuding with the Iconic Duo. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, they've made Ruby Riott have some pretty unimpressive matches. They've made Sarah Logan have some pretty unimpressive matches. And since both those girls are still relatively new to the roster, those who are not super familiar with their pre-WWE work probably don't think nearly as high as they should of them. And
I do not.
This is kind of the problem with what NXT does sometimes, and it's going to come up with where we're talking about Street Profits versus the Ely Brothers later, is you're getting guys who are very much, in quotation marks, developing wrestlers wrestling other developing wrestlers, and therefore you're just seeing the inexperience of both. And that's why I would like to see them utilize like their veteran talent with some of these people. Not that they have it in the women's division, unfortunately, but like have the, for example, have the Street Profits feud against like an established tag team. Like, hey, how about just feud them to Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish?
Yep, pretty much.
So Riott gets the win after a senton, which, by the way, Ruby Riott's selling of what the hell just happened, fantastic.
Because what the hell just happened?
Yeah. I assume the story will be that Nikki Cross is, with there being a vacant title right now, Nikki Cross is looking for any opportunity possible to show off how, well, it's my belt.
Yeah. I don't, honestly, as long as they keep having good matches, I don't care, but I'm just, whoa, man, I don't even want the stupid Australians to be managers. I don't want to hear them, I don't want to see them, I don't want to watch them wrestle. If they put them in another match, I'm just going to have to skip it because it pisses me off.
They are pretty much pissed off at this point. Then we got some promo stuff, setting up some stuff. Gargano's going to face Riddick Moss because of a confrontation he had with Moss and Sabatelli. And No Way Jose cut a pretty good promo on Laura Sullivan, actually. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, well, I mean, they finally let him cut a promo at all. So, there you go. He's got skills. Maybe do more with No Way Jose. I like him.
Mm-hmm. Then we had Johnny Gargano versus Riddick Moss. And what caught me early is that Riddick Moss looked real nervous. Nervous. Yeah. Coming down the ring, it looked like he was ready to shit a brick.
The guy got to go in there and perform with Gargano.
And the match really kind of disappointed me because it turned into a very typical big man versus little man match for most of it. Yeah. And granted, you have a big man, you have a little man, should expect that to a degree, but Gargano is so creative that I was hoping we wouldn't get that. And we did.
Yeah, he definitely did some spots that aren't your traditional big little man, or at least exploited the size and speed difference in a different way than, Rey Mysterio only ever had the one match in his entire career against big guys, and it was always exactly the same, note for note. I'm sure you could line them all up. If you could put them in little windows and activate them all at the same time, they would all pretty much begin and end and have the middle parts all the same. But Gargano, like you said, is way more creative, and he did do a few spots that were at least different than your traditional big little man type of scenario.
Riddick Moss, I really like the name. Kind of indifferent on the guy. Tito Sabatelli, I think, is supposedly the much better one of the two. So, kind of would have preferred if he would be in this match instead of Rick Moss, but it got across it got across the whole storyline of Gargano maybe having a crisis of confidence, though. So
yeah,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, isn't Moss the guy who the ex-pro football player?
No, it's Sabatelli.
Oh, okay.
Moss played university football, University of Michigan, or not Michigan, Minnesota. They were making references to Brock Lesnar because, of course, they're from the same school.
University of Minnesota.
He was a linebacker for the Golden Gophers, but to my knowledge, has no substantial pro background. It's Sabatelli who actually played in the NFL.
Fair enough. I just wasn't sure which one's which, and I figured if it was if that was the pro footballer, they might want to utilize him because he's probably he's rich and doesn't need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the case.
Slingshot spear though for the finish, which I'm always good for slingshot moves. And then we had Street Profits versus Ely Brothers. The only real nice thing I can say about this match is that both teams showed a little bit more of what they got. And with two very green teams, I guess that's really all you can ask. Like, I want to see like a little bit of improvement, and that's kind of about it. That being said, that's kind of a waste of TV time.
Yeah, this is not something I needed to watch. I didn't care. It didn't make me care. It's actually made me, if anything, care less about either team. Because literally anybody could have that match. I don't need to see two guys that you're supposed to be bringing up onto the main roster probably in the next 6 to 8 months. And they can't wrestle yet. What the fuck?
Like I said, the Performance Center still has not got a track record of anything good. And we finished off with UK title match, Pete Dunne versus Wolfgang. I was less into this match than I am to any other Pete Dunne match. I did really enjoy when Wolfgang went like high flying. The dive to the outside for a guy 250 some odd pounds is very nice. The moonsault is cool. The howling reversed into an armbar is cool. But the rest of the match, like the connecting tissue of the match, otherwise did not thrill me.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty much, that's all I have to say about it as well. It was fine, but it wasn't.
It was the best match of the 4, I guess. Well, maybe Gargano Moss. But, I mean, considering we basically taken a flaming dump on the Australians versus the Crazy Chicks. And Street Profits versus Ely Brothers also got a pretty good dump taken on it. So, I mean, it's not really saying much. Dunn retains. Never assumed that Wolfgang was going to take the belt off of him anyway, so
there's no point.
Not really anything there. And then things did get interesting afterwards when Adam Cole, baby, and company jumped Pete Dunne. Yeah,
I think it was Pete Dunne did a great job during that whole scenario to get a lot of heat, and everybody loves what's their new faction name that's really fucking stupid? The Concussion Era or something like that?
Something like that.
It's whatever it is. I remember somebody showing it, or I think the Wrestle Talk News guys had it up there, and they're like, hey, look at this. I guess it's a thing they're doing, and it's dumb.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. Pretty dumb. There's a lot of names that would have worked. I mean, this is a Ring of Honor themed thing. You could do a lot of puns related. Like, you can't just call them Ring of Honor, obviously, but you can do a lot of stuff with that.
Somebody had proposed to call them Dishonor. But,
I don't think you call yourself Dishonor, though.
You don't understand.
I don't think that's a name you give yourself.
Perhaps not. But anyway, it's way better than anything else they got.
It's better than Concussion Era.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. Oh, it's Undisputed Era. That's what it is. So they've
better, but not good.
No, it's not better. That's bad. It's
really better than Concussion Era.
I'd rather call it a Concussion Era because at least then it sounds like a thing that's real. Undisputed Era doesn't mean it. Like there's no. It doesn't mean.
I would have gone with. You could totally just rip off the Ring of Honor pay-per-view idea of the Rising.
Yeah, I guess, but they get sued.
You can call it the Rising. I think you can get away with it. It's a generic enough term that I'm pretty sure you could get away with it. Also, this is... If I may quote Vince McMahon, you have any idea how many court cases I've been in? How many have I lost?
Yeah, it's that is a thing, but the name, the Undisputed Era, doesn't make any sense at all.
Oh, it sucks ass.
So, good, and the dogs...
Anyways, Wolfgang tried to help Pete Dunne. Dunne leaves him to the Wolves, although runs back to grab his title to tease it. And then Trent Seven and Tyler Bate come out to save Wolfgang. And I guess we're going to get something with the UK wrestlers versus ROH guys. I think Byron has gone to check out what the dogs are doing.
No, they're just howling. Like, you want me to... We can totally have this as part of the audio if you want.
Actually, it's not too bad. That's really all I got to say, though. I mean, we're going to do probably ROH versus UK to kind of introduce Adam Cole properly. Hopefully they don't fuck it up.
They will.
I said hopefully. And that is 7 hours of WWE programming condensed to less than 40 minutes.
So if you haven't watched any WWE this week, only watch 205 Live.
205 Live is definitely worth a watch. Watch the first hour of Raw. Find the Vince McMahon, Kevin Owens stuff online. Maybe watch the Aussies versus Ruby Riott and Nikki Cross. Just to see how bad they are.
They are pretty bad. They can't even talk shit properly, goddammit.
Yeah, no, they just come off as annoying.
Where's your partner? Where's your partner? Coming Don't worry about it.
Unfortunately, this is like the standard WWE heel female move. Like they've really never developed the heel female. Heel female comes in like basically two kinds in WWE: the bitch and the monster. That's all they got.
Apparently.
Which, yeah, I mean, mind you, I don't think these girls could do any better if you gave them the freedom to.
No, I don't think so.
Just thinking if there's anything else. Oh, let's talk about the Mae Young Classic real quick. Because we have a champion! The champion was Kairi Sane, and if you didn't see that coming, I don't really know what to tell you. I guess you could have argued that they might put Baszler over, but...
Well, apparently the plans were to probably do that, but nobody's got a contract with Shayna Baszler, so they didn't.
And, of course, the Baszler push is almost entirely reliant on Rhonda, will you please sign this piece of paper?
Yeah.
So just some things to general stuff. Everything past the round of 32 is pretty passable wrestling. If not good. Baszler is an interesting wrestler, definitely has some work to do, but her match with Mercedes Martinez was quite good. Her match with Candice LeRae was very interesting storytelling because it was really where she became a defined heel, injuring Candice LeRae and even getting in Johnny Gargano's face. So that's interesting enough to watch. There's a couple of very interesting people if they sign them, or if some have signed, some have not. But I mentioned Toni Storm earlier. Toni Storm is awesome. Piper Niven, who is a large Scottish girl. Her match with Toni Storm is definitely worth checking out. It was really good. Other than that... Abby Lath is pretty good. Her match with Jazzy Gabbert would be also one I would put high on the list of things to see. Kaylee Ray is really good, although I thought her matchup with Princess Suhei, which she lost in the first round, wasn't that good, which was surprising because Princess Suhei has been around for a very, very long time. She's a Mexican wrestler, veteran of the business. I thought her and Kaylee Ray would be better than they were. But she's a name to remember. I thought Nicole Savoy was quite interesting. The matchup between Dakota Kai and Rhea Ripley was quite good. Toni Storm versus... Really all of Toni Storm's matches were very, very good. She had a match with Lacey Evans that you'd probably enjoy. Lacey Evans is the Marine chick. Okay. You call her Sailor Moon.
Yeah. She kind of is.
So that one was pretty good. Yeah, I mean, a lot of good talent hopefully coming into NXT to replenish the division, which desperately needs it because we will see less of the two Australian chicks. And hopefully more of the two new Australian chicks.
Exactly.
In the near future. But, you know what, if you're into women's wrestling, definitely check out the Mae Young Classic. But if it's anything like the Cruiserweight Classic, unfortunately, they're going to take any momentum they have from this and fumble it.
Yeah, Vince will get... as I understand it, Vince has very little to do with these classic tournaments. He had to basically... He found out almost last minute that they did not have a contract with Shayna Baszler or whatever. So he's like, "What are you doing? You can't. That can't be the finish."
I do kind of have to agree with Vince McMahon on that one. Like, if you were to put Baszler over, you really need her on contract.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm right there, actually agreeing with Vince for once. But as I understand it, he doesn't book or has very little booking input for these classic tournaments. And then when he gets handed the final thing, he doesn't know what to do. Which means if he was more involved, we could convince him that it was kind of like in his own best interest to be involved. A, the product would be worse, and B, a lot of people would have longer careers, and he'd probably get a lot more of them signed to the company. So you'd just have more of a subpar product. That's my opinion, anyway.
Probably correct. So the two kind of weird things I'll say is that they really need to start calling Rachel Ellering instead of Rachel Evers if they're going to beat us over the head with that she's Paul Ellering's daughter.
That would probably help.
And I don't know why they don't, because her first appearance in WWE, she was Rachel Ellering. She then went to Global Force Wrestling for a bit, and since she's come back, she's been called Rachel Evers. Which is fine if you're going to like not connect her in any way to Paul Ellering, but they were beating us over the head with it during her two matches that she was Paul Ellering's daughter. Like, yeah. Here is a hammer. We are gonna beat you over the head with it. That's how bad that was. And her first round opponent, who this was the weirdest finish I think I've ever seen. So Marty Bell was scheduled to go over Rachel Ellering in the opening round of the Mae Young Classic. And at some point during the match, the referee gets in his earpiece, "We're not doing that because this match is so bad, and I don't know why." Marty Bell was in TNA/GFW for quite some time and was pretty good. It's like she wasn't the same person in this match. It's like she had forgotten everything. I have no idea how to explain it. It was hilarious to me, but at the same time sad. And the match was so bad that you actually saw the referee go, "Okay, so what's going to happen is you're going to kick out. This is supposed to be the finish, but you're going to kick out, and then you're going to roll her up."
Yeah, that's a little bit weird.
So they had to change the match on the fly because Marty Bell was that bad. She was supposed to be in the final 16, and no, we're not doing that. So that was the low light of the tournament. But watch selectively through the first 4 episodes because there's some bad stuff in the first 4 episodes. This was a tournament that had 32. I'm using air quotes of the best women. That is bullshit because there were some women who don't rank top 200. Frankly.
Yeah. Well, I believe they tried to get as many as they could and then decided, you know what, we need to also probably have some young ones that we can sign that don't know any better, and then we can build up our own talent in-house.
Well, that was 100% the case. Particularly in the opening round, there were some super green girls who, if you look at their resume, it's like, all right, I'm not expecting anything from them. Mm-hmm. Maybe in the future. For example, there were a pair that I thought were promising. The Brazilian girl, Tainara Conti, who is a judo background person. I think actually is going to turn into something pretty good if she keeps with it. She's in her early 20s. She's been wrestling for, I think, less than a year. I think she's going to be something reasonably good. And also eliminated in the first round was a girl named Vanessa Bourne, who I think will also be pretty good. Given, like, 3 years down the road, we'll be talking about her as a pretty competent wrestler.
Any relation to Evan Bourne?
Judging by the skin color, I'm going to go with no.
Okay. That's kind of racist, sir.
Also, Evan Bourne's name is not Evan Bourne.
I know, that was the original joke. But you had to go all racist.
But yeah, the first round is hit and miss, but everything from the final 16 onwards is not something that's going to at any point offend you to watch. And some of it is very good. So that's the Mae Young Classic. Kairi Sane is top of the world right now until WWE ruins her.
Pretty much. They'll probably job her out to... who could they job her out to? Let's see. Probably Emma. Like for 6 months straight.
Yeah, I'm not really sure that they have any real plans for Emma at this point.
I don't think they have plans for anybody. I'm going to be honest with you.
I think they have some plans for Nia Jax.
No, they got plans for Roman Reigns, and that's it.
Well, John Cena did. John Cena's got his own plans.
Juan Cena.
So, that's the week in WWE action. We will be back at you with some Lucha Underground. And not really anything New Japan-y this week, I don't think.
They are doing the Destruction Tour, but I don't see any real hype about it, so...
Alrighty.
I don't know if they have shows for that, or if that's just, like, house shows.
Yeah, I think the On the Roads too. I think they have 3 shows they're going to do. One of which will probably get some English commentary.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest the one in Kobe, probably. That would be my guess. So, that is our show. I hope everyone enjoyed. And if you didn't, raise your hand. Because it's important to be clear about these things. And then there's an airlock with your name on it.
Dang.
Alright, see you guys later.